Okay, Bruce here, back at you one more time for my last video today, Saturday. So let's jump into it. Last but not least, GDX and GDXY. Okay, what happened on Friday? We were up 1.47% in GDX, closed at 35.26, and we were up slightly higher, 1.55%. And we weren't really worried about being capped, right? Now trading down at 35 and we had 38, 38 and a half, and then we added some 37 calls. So we captured 99% of our money out there on all those guys, I'm happy to report. So that was awesome, and we had closed it at 1896, I'll call it 18.959. So no synthetic trades, that was flat, and no new shares. Remember, they have to have 25,000 shares, right? We have 200,000 total. So only when 25,000 is reached, well, they could reach, 5 one day, 7 another, but until they get 25,000, they call it a creation unit, then they'll show 25,000, right? And then when they get to 50, they'll show 50. That's why you'll see moves sometimes and they'll say, oh, they added 375. They're always increments of 25. Even though people are buying into the fund, they're just not showing it. Okay. So let's look out further. So they sold, it was kind of interesting on the intraday trade. Actually, I take back what I was going to say, that's a different fund. So on this one, these all run together sometimes when you're doing all this accounting and spreadsheet work. But at the end of the day, they sold a 36, which I'm okay with, having closed at 35.26. I wasn't happy to see this one, even though it was at 35.50. Come on, that's less than 1%. I mean, these gold stocks are starting to get volatility. I mean, we've moved up on GDX since the beginning of March at $26. We hit up into the 37s, and now we're back to 35. I could see us getting as low as 33 in a week or so, but it doesn't mean we will. This chart, I didn't even post it on my weekly because I haven't drawn a conclusion. There's several different paths. If you ask me within 3 months, will we be up? I would say yes, and fairly significantly. We could be up significantly in a week or two. But I kind of calling it 50-50 right now. I'm thinking that we could run down to 33. If we do, we're going to get more sale prices here. And frankly, with the fund, they're just going to continue to collect on their weeklies. So I don't see a big problem with that because their synthetic runs out to 719. So that's sweet. So no issues here. Looking across at money, we added 34,000, almost 34.5. When I do 2 trades, I drag everything down, so then it's showing, okay, well, nothing changed. So this is the first day that you really want to check. And that money came from right here. That came from adding 31,000 and 3,600, right? Because we sold 1,000 contracts at 36, the strike price, and we collected 31 cents. And then we sold just 75, which I don't like, although it's a small number, at 35.50, and we got 48 cents, right? So it's only 1/10 of the volume because we got a higher price. It's less than 1/10 of the volume, but it's more than 1/10 of the money collected. Okay, let's jump out to holdings. Again, no synthetics. So what we have here is these 1,000, and in this case, some of the funds kept on going up, depends on what you're trading in. We weren't, so we've actually captured, with 4 days to go, some of that money, right? We've captured almost 18% and almost 15%. So collectively, money-wise, we've collected almost 17 and a half, because this is significantly more money involved, right? So we sold it for 31, we could buy it back for 21. We sold it for 36, we could buy it back for almost 31. Okay, so 1,074 contracts. We declined, or we reduced our loss a little bit, right? This is a negative number here. Sometimes negative numbers in my spreadsheets mean positive, like on Payout and other things. But in this case, we always want our calls to be more than our puts, because we have to buy back the puts and we have to sell the calls. So that's showing a paper loss. Again, it doesn't affect payouts. It just is, you ultimately got to pay the piper or turn it positive, right, with price movement. So not a lot else to see. Again, a lot of times I show the chart. I'll try and do something next week on the chart. I just didn't see anything obvious on my technical analysis. So my negative here is, hey, this is less than 1%, and this is only 2%. So granted, the gold stocks haven't been on fire, although I would argue, you know, they're due for some consolidation, but I don't think it'll be very long, right? So if we go back to 35, 34, 33 over the next couple weeks, and they keep riding it close and winning, hey, good for them. Maybe they're smarter than we give them credit for. So again, I've talked to you. This is fair market value. I didn't talk about this. So 1896 was our close. 1895.9. Who's going to argue that? And fair value is 1893. How is fair value calculated? It's taken the total number of shares, the net asset value, that's why they refer to it as NAV, right? And you divide that. You say, what's all the things they own, pluses and minuses here, and then how many shares, and you get a value. And then you say, well, what are people trading it at, right? What did it close at? And usually these are right in line. Sometimes they get out of kilter. So nothing new there. I showed you everything in May, so let's go to the important guy. Now, again, Ulti paid in 9 days, but Ulti is a unique fund, and Ulti's kind of been doing terrible. I need to sell. I think I got 200 shares, and you know, I really just bought it because I started reporting on the income and comparing it, and I wanted to know more, so I started tracking it a little bit, and not to where I wanted to report. And it's pretty obvious to me that it has a hard time keeping good stocks in its portfolio. And I'm not a lover of covered calls. If I want to do covered calls, I'll do them myself, right? The synthetics is the power of YieldMax, right? Because they're somewhat unique, and they get in there and they don't have to worry about having the underlying shares, you know, assigned to them, because they never own the underlying stock. Well, in Ulti, they pick a bunch of high IV stocks and they own them, and then they write covered calls. But like I said, you can get stuck. Okay, so you didn't get called out because the stock went down, you kept the revenue, but now what are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep writing calls? Maybe. So I don't particularly like it in a real bull market. And in a sector, if they went in and only picked a sector that's really running hot, then I think they could be successful. But they spread it around thinking we're going to go all sectors, and the stock market's not performing that well. It's near all-time highs, and then the fact they're getting these high IVs, implied volatility, I think it's working against them. Anyway, enough on Ulti. I don't cover it, so no need. So what do we have here? Well, we have 27 cents in all of 5 trading days, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We opened on 21. That's pretty sweet. Again, these guys are probably going to be a 50% yielder for a little bit because their IV is only in the 30s. But based on where I see gold stocks and silver stocks, precious metals, miners in the GDX is being super undervalued. The catch up over the next 6 months, year, year and a half, you talk about wanting to be in a fund that you're truly bullish on. This I'm really bullish on. So I don't worry about a week, right? And I have many other plays that if I just want to go put my own synthetic on a Nico, right? Or I want to do it on Newmont or something, then I can do that. And I'll be sharing a lot more because there's a lot of bear and a lot of bull and 2 times leverage to supplement this guy, right? But from an income standpoint, I think they'll end up generating some nice income because I expect this to move nicely. All right, so let's go back to the payout page. So we don't have to worry really about June 5. I mean, it's only 7 trading days. There's 4 trading days next week because of Memorial Day on Monday, and then 2 more trading days on Monday and Tuesday, the 3rd and 4th of June, and then on Wednesday at 6:30 in the morning or something like that, 8:30, 7:30 Eastern, I think, is when they declare. And I don't see this, even though they're starting to put money in. So maybe they'll surprise us. I mean, if they did, I would be ecstatic, but I'd rather get $1 or $1.50 the following month than get 40 cents or something, right? But let's see how it goes. I mean, this is assuming they collect all this, then they would have 1 more week of collections, right? So what are we collecting per period? Around 37,000. Well, on $200, that could be sweet, right? So if I changed this number and I said, let's make it 80 on 200,000, yeah, that's 40 something cents. So I'm not sure, but then you have some money over here in this. We'll see. It's all speculation at this point. The idea that it's collecting money and it's making money, love it. Keep doing it, right? Whether we get a payout or not, I'll update you guys in the next week, and I'll tell you if it's even a possibility. I believe if it's 30 cents or below that they won't pay, but let's see. All right, that's what I got for you. Have a great holiday weekend. It's Bruce signing out again. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. It's for fun and entertainment only. See ya.